welcome back to Claus in Effect. This is week 12, meaning that these past few days would have been the 12th time we've watched the start in Claus 3. I'm Jacob. Fucking seriously, guys?
We were both waiting for the other person to go. I'm Theodore.
I'm John.
I feel like
Sorry.
I feel like that bit of silence should really illustrate just what our current mindset is. Like, it's a pretty good indicator of how we're doing.
Okay, once again, guys, let's get into a bit of a feelings inventory right here before we start.
I feel bad, honestly.
Yeah, Ted, you actually did your fucking double watch, technically. Your audio only and your visual only. How was that?
Alright, I'm gonna go in order for the order that I did them in. So, I did the audio listen at work on Thursday. Mm-hmm. I loaded up the audio and just listened to it as I was going about my work day. And it was very strange because the movie was in my ears and not in front of my eyes. But my mind still played the scenes as it remembered them as the audio was going through my head.
That sounds terrifying.
That was very surreal in a way, but it got worse because
wait, you were hallucinating?
No, it just in my mind I could picture how every single scene was playing out, and It just sort of happened without me trying to do it.
It's just a fill in the blanks kind of situation.
Exactly. And this is a trend that I actually noticed happening during the no audio watch as well, is that in just seeing the things happen without being able to hear the audio at all, my mind was filling in the gaps with what audio it remembered associating with that, like the scenes, which was terrifying because it essentially meant that even though I was depriving myself of one of the two senses used to watch the movie, my mind was in such a way that it was trying to fill in for the missing sense, which is really weird. And it made the visual only watch really strange because I don't know how to describe it any further than that, honestly.
It's just that you were seeing them doing things, but there was like no talking, no music, no... It was just silence.
But my mind was still processing it as if the audio was going on, if that makes any sense.
Oh, holy fuck.
It was really, really terrifying.
So that's the movie equivalent of Phantom Limb, in a way.
I suppose.
Oh, okay. You said you were wanting to look forward to your watch. How was that?
Mine will take a while, so if you want to go through your watch experience real quick.
Mine, I watched the movie as normal. I was just like, but when I was watching it, I was like, suddenly I was like, holy fuck, there's an idea I want to do. So like, it was really hard for me to not tab out and just start collecting resources to make a weekly sit post. Because I know I'm not meant to like tab out during the movie to do stuff in the background, and that's just like, and it's just one of those things of, I realized like a few days into trying to gather resources for it that there's no fucking way I'll be able to make this for today, which I didn't. I've not even started editing yet. I just have vague resources scattered.
Sure.
But I'm looking forward to making the sit post. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is just yet, because that would spoil it.
Of course.
But it's just the excitement of having an idea makes it all worth it. But other than that, it was just a normal watch, and I was just like hating the fact they couldn't do other things in the background. But yeah, also, there was actually, again, there was a bit of light snow, like on the night of the Wednesday I watched it, and the Thursday morning afterwards. So yes, four weeks in a row now has there been snow around the time of my watches. So yeah, I just had a pretty normal experience, except with that overwhelming feel of how the fuck am I gonna make this sit post work? I do not have enough editing experience for it.
So that's your coping mechanism.
Your coping mechanism is to just think about
trying to make a shit post.
Yeah, basically.
Trying to make something out of the time that you waste each week on this awful movie.
I mean, I think I've actually got most of the resources now. It's just going to be very hard to actually edit it together and make it seem competent and very true to the original material that's a shitpost around. Like,
Oh,
not
boy.
true to Santa Claus 3, but more true to the other part that comprises the shitpost.
Right. Sure. All right,
So,
John.
So, this was a suggestion by our good friend Jeff.
Oh no.
As much as we talk with him about these watches, he has never once watched an episode of this podcast
Uh-huh.
Or the movie?
or the movie, but he suggested that one of us watch it and sync it up with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon album.
Oh shit. I know what this I know what this is from.
This is great. This is great. Continue.
No,
continue.
this is I know where he got this idea from.
Yeah, I
and
know where
love-
he got this idea. I know this is fucking perfect. Cause go on, explain and serenade us with the
I
experience.
mean, I know where he got it from, but I thought it was a good idea because of the whole, Wizard of Oz syncs up with the Dark Side of the Moon thing. And I thought, well, let's make a case that other movies can. Unsurprisingly, the Santa Claus 3 and Dark Side of the Moon are completely incompatible. They do not sync up at all. Is what I would like to say.
Oh shit.
Well, you see, the thing is that it's a 42-minute song, or 42-minute album that is
Yeah.
a bunch of songs that seamlessly connect into one another,
Right.
and so they form like this little closed narrative loop. But the thing is that 42 minutes just so happens to be exactly one half of the running time of the Santa Claus 3.
Yes. Yes.
And so what I did was I split it up into the first half of the movie, which goes from the beginning labor sequence to when Santa Claus activates Ultra Instinct and makes the rocket-powered scooter board.
Uh-huh.
And the second half was immediately after that until the credits begin.
Okay.
Now, the first half didn't sync all that well. We have a very, very few interesting points. One that I can think of is that the song Breathe starts right near the end of the labor sequence, which I thought was appropriate since the chords that happen after the ticking clock sound effects in Time underscore Tim Allen's rant about Canada, which makes it really creepy.
Okay.
And
pretty good.
The lyrics of the song start immediately when Jack Frost enters the scene for the League of Legendary Figures.
the
and that seems to be whatever it's called. That seems to be a trend with the songs in the first half, is that when Jack Frost is on screen, the lyrics are playing, and then when Tim Allen shows up, the instrumental starts.
Interesting.
So it's like a call and response thing, which I thought was weird.
Okay, how's the second half stack up then?
Oh, we're not done with the first half.
Oh, right.
Just a few more things. When the in-laws, their house shows up in establishing shot, it's the piano. It's a very somber piano at the very beginning of Great Gig in the Sky. And it's followed immediately by a reindeer farting.
Oh, the exes, not the in-laws then.
Yeah.
Okay. Just clarifying.
Yeah, the exes. Did I say in-laws?
Yes.
My mistake.
Anyway,
That's fine.
continue.
When Curtis says the escape clause, correcting Jack Frost, the little, like, stock cash register ka-ching at the start of the song Money plays. The song Us and Them, the lyrics start playing when the elves are creepily surrounding the in-laws. And finally, Brain Damage,
Oh no.
which is the second to last song on the album, plays during the erotic kitchen scene.
All right.
So,
That's great.
okay.
Is that
Alright.
that where the notable things end, or is there any?
That's the notable things for the first half.
Okay.
The second half, things went a little better. I don't know how familiar you are with the Dark Side of the Moon.
I'm not too
But
familiar with it, but
not
I'm probably gonna
particularly.
try this out for myself at some point because that sounds super interesting.
At the beginning of the song Breathe, before even the lyrics start, there's like these muffled screams that play.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And those play when Jack Frost is watching Lucy and Santa run up to the Hall of Snow Globes.
Oh, that's okay.
Good.
Sure.
Following that, when Jack Frost grabs the snow globe, like almost on the exact frame that he grabs it, the chord at the beginning of On the Run plays, and then it starts with like, very fast, frantic synth notes, which is also underscored by kind of creepy laughter, which plays during the scene of Lucy's parents getting frozen.
Oh my.
And then when Lucy gets in the closet, the synth notes and the laughter both stops, and the whole thing just decrescendos.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
When the tree topper falls, the vocals of Time start.
Mm-hmm.
And the lyrics of Time talk about, like, wasting your time and spending years in a dead-end job.
Right.
And one of the things it says is every year is shorter, which is, I think, very thematically concurrent with the theme of Tim Allen constantly being busy during the Santa Claus 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
So what you're saying is that this is way too thematic, and Dark Side of the Moon goes with every movie.
That might be what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When they land in the past and look at Tim Allen's house, and it's 12 years prior, the lyrics of the song say "home again." And when Jack Frost puts on Santa's coat, they talk about a magic spell.
Well then.
The piano at the beginning of Great Gig in the Sky, this time around, happens right when Tim Allen appears at the bad future and looks at himself in the mirror.
Oh my god.
All right. I mean,
And
sure.
take a wild guess where money starts.
As soon as we get to the North Pole.
Yeah, around then. During the scene where the elf is taking the parents' money and giving them the t-shirt,
Okay.
Oh my.
that's when the ka-ching happens. Also worth mentioning is that Curtis is on screen for both of the times that the song says the word bullshit.
Appropriate.
Okay. Getting down to the wire here, because there's not a lot that happens during North Pole, which I think is good because that meant I actually got to listen to North Pole.
Sure.
During the defrosting of Jack Frost, brain damage plays again while he's making the weird salamander noises.
Okay.
And when the group hug happens, the song breaks into like an uplifting chorale almost.
Oh.
And when Bud puts his head on Mother Nature's shoulder, the lyrics of the song, I believe it's still brain damage. It might have transitioned into Eclipse at this point. It says, "I'll see you on the dark side of the moon."
Oh.
Which it's not really too, sensical to link those two, but I just thought it was funny that the roll credits moment of the song happened around the same time as the roll credits moment of the film.
Oh.
That's great.
So yeah, I got a try that for myself at some point. That sounds like it's a fucking trip and it's beautiful.
It definitely sounds...
It was okay.
It was okay. It was at least different.
Okay.
I could think of a few other movies that I would rather watch Dark Side of the Moon.
Synced too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
okay.
sensible.
Alright. Before we get into anything else, I just had an idea that kind of combines Ted and John's watches ideas into one type of idea. Watch one movie of your choice with the audio of Santa Claus 3, and then later watch the Santa Claus 3 with the audio of the other movie.
That's actually an interesting idea, for sure.
That is an interesting idea. I would say that the movie that you should watch at the same time would be another movie in the Santa Claus series, but as we all know, this podcast breeds on our ignorance, and we have not allowed ourselves to
know what the first two movies are doing in existence.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen those. Well, John saw the first one, but a billion years ago, so that doesn't count.
A billion.
Yeah, so
roughly.
If we can pick any movie we want here, so do we try and keep it to be the same running time as Santa Claus 3? Because I know they're awesome. Because we don't want to sync like Santa Claus 3 to like Transformers 3 or whatever. That's like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Right.
It's got to be it's got to be roughly the same length so that you don't have scenes of the other movie where there's just nothing going on.
All right.
I feel like there's going to be no good movie for the Santa Claus 3 to really sync up with, because you don't really have a lot of movies that follow the narrative structure of push everything important in the movie until the very end.
I know. No, we
that's
could have some
true.
Adam Sandler movies.
Ooh.
But do we really want to punish ourselves with that?
There's probably some good choices in that library, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think that is definitely something to be considered, and we should all think
It's
about.
something to be considered. I don't think we should dedicate ourselves to doing it unless we, like, individually have our own ideas. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, and actually getting into the movie now. After
Yeah,
like,
Movie? We watched a movie?
I actually have a few things to talk about. A couple of them are shining lights, because I took down 2 different shining lights, one for the audio and one for the watch. And also, just a couple different talking points that never really came to my mind before.
holy shit! I just realized I wrote 5 notes this time. That's like pitiful.
The first thing I wanted to do was propose a bit of homework for us.
Oh no.
In watching the movie, and even really listening to it, I guess, I really started to pay a little more attention to lines that just seemed out of place. And I mean that in the sense of there were a lot of lines that I sort of got the impression were not part of the original shooting, that they were added in post.
What?
So I
Like
think
now
homework
now I've got to throw his underwear in a bag.
Yeah, in that vein, yes. So I'd like for us next watch to see if we can't just note down any lines that you think might have been added in post. That's
Right.
it.
Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
one thing I want to point out: when Carol says that she hopes that Santa's not going to deliver when she's delivering, Santa says he's not going to let that happen. And I find the thought of that kind of horrifying, because what's Santa going to do? He's either going to make Christmas late or try and forcibly delay Carol's pregnancy. Think about that. Like, what's he going to do to not let that happen? It's not like he has any control over it.
That's honestly a good... I don't know. I feel
The
like...
only thing he has control over is when Christmas happens.
I
Oh,
guess.
Christmas is on the 27th this year. My wife's pregnant.
I mean, they planned for the baby to happen earlier, but it got, like, the pregnancy was delayed. But what I want to know is, why did they plan it so close to Christmas anyway?
Maybe they didn't plan it. Maybe it just happened.
Alright, you would think that they would know about, like, 9 months in advance. Like, you'd think they wouldn't be having sex in, like, April or whatever.
Yeah, let's just avoid March and April, maybe.
That's a fair point, honestly. You know?
Yeah, so
I'll give you that.
they must have planned for the baby to be born near or on Christmas.
No, I don't think they planned it. I think they just didn't think of that.
So you're saying that once again, Tim Allen is an absolute dumbass.
Sure, I guess.
Maybe the problem is that it needed to be sometime that was far enough away from Christmas that Tim Allen wasn't turning into Santa.
Huh.
Because, I mean, honestly, Tim Allen's an alright looking guy, but when he's Santa Claus, I wouldn't fuck him.
Alright, another thing I
Wow.
want to point out. I'm pretty sure that at no point is there snow on anybody's shoes, ever.
Huh.
And I want to point out anyone specifically, because normally you could write this off as elves having, like, magical shoes that prevent snow from getting on
Yes,
them.
normally you just write that sort of thing off as elf magic, sure.
Do you mean like on the bottoms of their shoes, or do you mean...
On the shoes entirely. Any of the...
Maybe that was just a thing with the fake snow they were using, was that it didn't stick to things.
Yeah, but that's
I think that
that's
is the
exactly
thing,
why I
yeah.
wanted to point that out. Because I just found that interesting. Like I wanted to specifically focus on, like, if Bored Sylvia or the ex's family got, like, snow in their shoes. But yeah, like, at first I noticed it with the elves, and it's just like, might just be elf magic. So I wrote it off for them, but when I noticed it didn't get on anyone else's shoes, I was like, yeah, this is strange. Fake fucking...
Even if you wanted to make it like a property of the North Pole, it doesn't seem like Tim Allen or Martin Short, Jack Frost guy get snow on them at any point during the time when they're wrestling in the snow.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Interesting.
Snow doesn't get on them at all when they fall into it and start wrestling like some form of mud bath. And
Their snow is
also,
really bad snow.
also, why did Mother Nature and Father Time not get shares during the meeting?
Well, Mother Nature is running the meeting, so she has to stand, I guess.
Yeah, to address everybody. And
Give
I
her
guess
a
maybe
tour to
Father
share.
Time, I don't know. Maybe he just likes standing. Maybe it makes him feel important. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Alright, yeah.
Personally.
Maybe somebody else took Father Time's seat and he was just too nice to point it out.
The elf just took his gun and was like, I could make this into a toy.
No, I was, like somebody sat in it.
Oh, right. But no,
Like-
the elves put out enough shares for everyone except for Mother Nature and Father Time. They just weren't enough shares.
Didn't they put out a nameplate for Father Time?
Yes,
too?
yes, but no share.
But no chair.
Interesting.
Like, why do they
Makes you
not get
think.
shares?
Maybe Father Time just didn't want a chair. Maybe he likes standing. I don't know. But then again, he does have that walking stick, so
We do never see Father Time sit down.
it's true.
Maybe
Maybe it's
he's
because-
physically unable to.
Guys, time never rests.
Fuck.
So let's move on to our shining lights, I think.
Alright,
I have two to deliver because I have one for the audio listen and one for the no audio watch. The first, Jack Frost's delivery when he says, I invented chill. It's just really good. He's like, I invented chill. He sounds almost like he's about to start crying, which is really funny to me. I just think that line is really, really well delivered.
Yeah.
So there's that for the audio. But then I think more interesting is the watch. Because there was, well, no audio going on for me to listen to, I was able to actually focus a little bit more on some background characters in a couple scenes. The most notable of which, when Curtis and Jack Frost are meeting together outside and Curtis starts ranting at him about the Hall of Snow Globes, in the background, there's an elf that's sweeping the stairs leading up to someplace. I'm not exactly sure where. Maybe the toy factory, who knows? But they are putting in the bare minimum of effort into actually sweeping. Like, there are many points where the broom does not even touch the stairs at all.
Very
So
good.
I just really liked watching them and seeing how little they were actually doing to try and look busy.
Alright, even though I only watched the movie once, I'll match you by giving two shining light candidates I had. The first of which was in, like, the opening panoramic before the school, the elementary. On the merry-go-round, there's just a kid on the Christmas tree part of the merry-go-round that's just got a very city seating position and it just looks really funny to me. It just looks like he's hanging on like a fucking koala or something.
I mean, how else are you gonna, like, sit on a tree, I guess?
Yeah, like that part of the merry-go-round is garbage. Like all the others, like a bauble, that can work. A Christmas present, that can work. And a reindeer, that's like a reindeer. So, but and then the other one was after like the bean closet. Jack Frost was saying, "Woo!" I think it was Jack Frost anyway, but just the woo after the bean line just really tickled me. This
How many
watch.
beans can he eat?
Well, not to top you guys or anything, but I have 3 shining lights for this watch.
Aw, shit.
Okay.
I have the shining light for the Santa Claus 3, which is Neil's face during the meditation scene when he is breathing.
Yeah, that's very
He
good.
makes that O face, and it's very good.
He's a fish.
My shining light of the watch, when paired with Dark Side of the Moon, is pretty much the entire second half up until North Pole starts, but more specifically, just how well Great Gig in the Sky syncs up with how sad Tim Allen is about the bad future.
Okay.
And the
that's-
third.
And the third is my shining light of just Dark Side of the Moon, which I think is Money, which is just a solid song. Really good song overall.
all right. There you go.
Alright, yeah, okay, that's good. I've actually already listed all 5 of my notes.
I think I have... Oh, yeah, I have 2 more. The first, it's just a minor thing, but, like, during the Canada disguising stuff, we see elves carrying around bags that say letters to Santa. We have no idea from watching this movie what Santa actually does with all the letters he receives from people around the world. So I'm not sure how exactly he processes all those. Because I doubt that he does it all himself. That doesn't seem feasible, along with lists and all that.
I imagine he uses part of his time magic to speed read them all. Like with the magic scooter board, he just has enhanced eyes.
Why doesn't he use his time magic to check his list faster?
It's
honestly,
Tim Allen.
I kept thinking about this. I'm starting to wonder if the only thing he can apply his magic to is, like, his delivery stuff and his building stuff. Because we only see him use his time magic really once, which is when he's building the jet-powered scooter board, and it's implied that he uses it for the delivery process.
Yes.
You would think that he would, use it for other things if he was capable of doing that. So
either that or he just didn't think of it.
I have to wonder if there's any limitations to it or not. Or maybe he's just not that smart about it. Who knows? Anyways, the second point that I wanted to make, more of a general observation. Curtis walks in when Tim Allen is Scott Calvin, whatever, is trying to have some family time, and has, like, all these elves falling behind him with the crumpled up list and all that, wanting him to go examine it. Scott Calvin, like, just looks at everyone and says, like, 2 minutes? And then there's just a quick blink and you'll miss it moment where he, like, moves his hand so it's like, honestly, I had to pause to kind of look at it. He's sort of using his index finger to point forward, but then his middle finger is pointing over at Curtis. But if you just aren't, like, paused and looking at it, all it looks like is that he's pointing his middle finger at Curtis, which I think is very appropriate considering how much we hate him.
Fuck Curtis.
I just
Curtis
like
is
that
a
idea
little
of
shit.
Scott Calvin stealth giving Curtis the middle finger.
Like he deserves.
Yeah.
All right. I had one note this watch, mostly because I was paying more attention to the songs than I was to anything in the movie itself.
Mm-hmm.
When Tim Allen says being Santa is not something you take, it's something that chooses you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe there was supposed to be another moral supplemented there that just they couldn't think of anything. Because really, Tim Allen didn't learn anything.
Tim Allen didn't even really, from what I know of the Santa Claus one, Tim Allen practically unintentionally chose to become Santa. It didn't choose him. The cult didn't drop on his doorstep like, yo, you're gonna be Santa, have fun.
It's not even really a good moral to begin with, because it's basically just saying that there's nothing that you can do to get people to like you.
Give yourself up to fate and just let things happen.
It's just something that chooses you.
Right.
It's like,
I feel
okay,
like-
it's like being an anime protagonist.
Maybe-
You can't just decide I'm going to be the protagonist. It just happens.
I feel like after Tim Allen says to Jack Frost, like, who loves you? The elves, the people
because
you took
all
money
the elves
from,
love you, because all the people you take money from, they love you.
You'd think that he'd say, like, you can't make people love you, Frost.
Yeah, that...
But I guess if he did that, then they couldn't have just had Lucy defrost him.
So, I guess the real thing of it is, it's very strange to me that the movie tries to have a moral for Tim Allen in the middle of the bad future, like when Neil is talking to him and just talking about what a shitty father he was. Because I'm pretty sure we've addressed this before, but Tim Allen never actually experienced, like, the things that he did in that bad future. So it's weird that they're trying to, like, guilt him and portray him as being regretful when he didn't want to do any of that in the first place.
Yeah, no, like, Tim Allen basically subconsciously lived those 12 years without even knowing it or remembering any of it. So it's just like, why the fuck does this make any sense? It's like, was it originally in the script where Tim Allen forgot? Well, no, where Tim Allen lived the 12 years or whatever, or what? Or
I genuinely wonder
this doesn't make any
if
sense.
more time wasn't spent in the bad future, but then they realized that it's not really a good Christmas movie for kids to have half the movie just be Tim Allen being a shitty father.
Yeah. And the thing is, when Jack Frost tricks Scott Calvin, he is expressing, like, his feelings of, like, man, I wish I wasn't Santa. And maybe that's the thing, is that, like, they're trying to use that scene as leverage that he really doesn't want to do this, but it's like, you can have days where you just really wish things weren't the way they were, but have that not be like how you truly feel deep inside, you know?
They're almost as if they're treating it like an ultimatum. Like, oh, you wish you didn't want to do it one day? Well, no, you never do it ever again.
Yeah,
I guess they were trying to treat it like It's a Wonderful Life thing, where they were trying to make Scott Calvin realize all of the wonderful things that happened because he was Santa Claus, but the problem with that is that
He already knows all the wonderful stuff.
he already knew all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But he treats it like it's some big realization when he comes back to the future and
the
like
thing is,
talks to Carol. Is like,
thing,
it's only been 5 minutes, but 5 minutes was enough time for me to realize all of the wonderful things I have in my life. He's like, you already knew all that stuff. It's all Jack Frost's fault.
In the bad
you
future,
didn't do anything, Tim Allen.
In the bad future,
why are you getting the moral?
And time. That is the first scream of the podcast.
The other thing is that Tim Allen doesn't even have anything really positive going for him in the bad future that would, like, make him try to consider one way of being, like, that would make him conflicted on one way of living being better than the other. It's just for him, the bad future is unequivocally worse because his family isn't together. So, they really fucked that up, to put it bluntly.
I know I keep belaboring the point, because I probably mentioned it every episode so far. None of the things that happen over the course of that 56 minutes are Tim Allen's fault.
Yeah, pretty much.
With the exception of the in-laws not getting any calls from him.
Yeah.
Or the fact that his wife, wants him to decide between toy making and her child, their child.
Right. And honestly, I feel like a lot of his work-related issues come more from Curtis. Like, Curtis is such a... Actually, no, that's something I want to ask you guys. How the fuck do you think Curtis became elf number 1 if he's such a shitty guy?
I think they gave him elf number 2 as a joke, and he took it seriously, so now they can't convince him that now that Bernard's dead, that he's not actually the head elf.
Oh, do you really... Oh, shit. Oh, that would be...
I mean, okay, here's the thing, is that when Curtis is talking with Jack Frost, he says that he's just recently become elf number 1.
I'm now elf number 1 or whatever.
And also, when Tim Allen's on the phone with Curtis, he says, "You're head elf, now act like it."
Yeah. You've got...
Which, leads me to believe that Curtis has only just recently become head elf, and he's not really sure how to do his job properly, but then...
So his job then...
You don't get that at all from his other scenes, because he spends a lot of time bossing Tim Allen around.
Yeah, he acts like he is in charge of Scott Calvin, which he kind of is, because Scott Calvin keeps going along with it. If Scott Calvin is Curtis's boss, he should be able to say, "No, I'm doing this," but, like, he's so... I don't know, maybe it's a thing where Scott Calvin doesn't want to hurt his feelings or something? I don't know.
It's possible that Curtis is just using a tough front to hide the fact that he's really unsure about himself, and he wants Tim Allen to make decisions for him because he really doesn't think that he's capable of making the right decision on his own.
The problem is that Tim Allen is just like, I think I'm just gonna go with your idea, instead of sticking up for himself and teaching fucking Curtis a lesson to teach Curtis Santa a lesson. And
Curtis should really just be told, Scott Calvin should just really say, it's like, hey, family's more important right now. Let me spend time with my family. Instead of Curtis just being like, why are you spending time with your family when we have work to do? It's like, fuck, dude.
And that's exactly the thing that, like, fucking Tim Allen was like, why is this all so bad, when he realizes the sculpt thing's in the bad future. It's like, oh fuck, I spent too much time on work and not enough for my family. And that's what you needed to learn, but you already knew that, and that's what you're trying to do. It's all Curtis's fault.
So, in short, the moral of the story is that there's no moral of the story because all of your problems are the result of other people's actions.
Yeah.
So wait, are you saying the moral of the story is blame it on somebody else, LMAO?
Yes, and usually you'll be right. I think the problem with Curtis is just that his actor is too wooden to give any depth to his performance.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Curtis as a character just doesn't have any depth at all, either.
Nope.
Curtis?
Like, he's just the standard bossy, you do this, you do that. The rules say that I have a stick up my ass and there's nothing you can do about it. But
Probably why he's so wooden if the stick's that big.
yeah. The stick was so big that it infected the rest of his body and made him into wood.
He is Pinocchio, except instead of not being able to tell lies, he can't feel human emotion or elf emotion.
He's reverse Pinocchio.
Exactly.
Oh.
He is only programmed to do work. He cannot feel things.
Instead of striving to feel.
Yeah. Ugh. Curtis is the worst.
So if elves are normally made of sugar, but Curtis is made of wood, how easy would it be? How flammable is Curtis?
I'd imagine that Curtis is pretty flammable, but I mean, so are most things that are made of flesh. My throat hurts now, so I'm gonna get real close to the mic. And
No ASMR. Banned.
But my throat hurts.
Have a glass of water.
I don't have water, which means I'll need to go, and then we have to take a break from recording, so we might as well just end it now, because it's been like 45 minutes.
Fucking have it your way at Burger King. Now I want
We're
to
not
see
going to
fucking Scott Calvin go to Burger King. Why the fuck do I want to see Scott Calvin go to
Alright.
Burger King? It's probably more fucking interesting than...
Santa Claus 4. Santa versus Burger King. Like the mascot Burger
Like-
King.
Like the mascot.
Yes, absolutely.
That's good.
I
that
actually
idea.
like. No, that's actually good. That's good. I like it.
Burger King is trying to take over the world corporately, and Scott Calvin has to remind the world what Christmas is all about amidst a heavy advertising campaign from Burger King about like Chris burgers or something like that.
All right, yeah.
Xmas
Chris,
patties.
all right.
Who knows?
I can imagine the moral of the story is just Tim Allen saying Christmas isn't about going to Burger King to get their 50% off whoppers.
He holds down Burger King in the snow.
And puts the
he
crown
says-
on and becomes the Burger King.
Oh.
Christmas isn't something that you can buy at a fast food restaurant.
It's something
It's
that's
something
in your
that
heart.
chooses you.
It's not something that's in your arteries. It's in your heart.
Well, if it's in your arteries, doesn't that mean it's in your heart?
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly the mistake Disney would make. But you know what that would mean though is if Disney does make this movie, that means the Burger King would be able to be in Kingdom Hearts.
You know, because there's precedent for characters from the Santa Claus series showing up in Kingdom Hearts.
But I mean, it is a Disney franchise. They would be.
I would not be opposed to a Santa Claus level in Kingdom Hearts 3, actually.
Me neither.
We'll see how that unfolds.
I
Yeah.
somehow doubt it'll happen, but if it happened, I think I would be contractually obligated to buy the
You
game.
have to dream, Ted. You have to dream that Santa Claus will be in Kingdom Hearts 3 in the form of Tim Allen wearing a fake beard.
I will try my best.
I just imagine that a Santa Claus world would just look as uncanny and weird as the Pirates of the Caribbean world in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh god.
No, it's okay because the North Pole is made of mostly bad CG anyway. I've been John.
I've been Jacob.
I've been Theodore.
Merry
Christmas, everybody.
See you next time for the 13th episode milestone, I guess.
Whatever that's gonna be.
The chimney tonight.